Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode. Today we are once more at Strathclyde Country Park with the Scottish Rowing Centre behind me back there. But today, instead of only being inside, we finally get to go onto the water here and do some rowing. Because remember, rowing is a rowing sport and we have to use some of this here H2O to row on to make the sport of rowing rowing. Oh yeah. So we're going to get out there. Not sure if you'll be able to see under the bridge there. The far end of the course is lovely and flat. We're going to get out there and do some prep for trials that are coming up soon, because yes, I will actually be doing trials this year, and after I get off the water I'll have a little bit of a chat about the what the trials are kind of doing this year with everything going on, and what my kind of goals are, my aims are for this season, which are kind of a little bit up in the air at the moment. But we're going to get over there to the Yamsquad / name yet to be determined, get it on the water over here somewhere, and push off the dock, get on the water and do some pieces, some prep work, some rate work, some starts, because starts and myself in a single haven't really happened a lot. So we'll see how it goes. And obviously we've got some lovely weather as well. Absolutely fantastic to get on the water here, Strathclyde Park. And Yamsquad, what do you think of the outfits? Speaking of outfits, actually got a new design all-in-one coming in. So hopefully we'll get the new Yamsquad all-in-one coming up. But without any further ado, it's time to get on the water. So let's get to it.
Where do we go from? Where do we go from here? No one can save us from keeping clear. I don't wanna lose you, I don't wanna lose you now. 'Cause there is only one thing on my mind. Hey, 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 I just wanna see you while I look great.
And we have finished this session on the water here at Strathclyde Country Park with the Scottish Rowing Centre behind me. and what a session it was. So it was just some pace work, some starts, and some finishes as well on the water. So here at Strathclyde Park there's a 2K course, all buoyed or buoyed, depending how you say it. But that's the first time I've been on a buoyed course in a long time, and it's the first time I've been on a buoyed course in a single in even longer. I think the last time I was on this specific course was around 2016, so it's been a while. And since we've been on, when I was back in Bath last year, obviously a river, very flat on the Avon, a bit windy but quite narrow at points. On the canal at Auchinstarry, not very narrow, but still narrow compared to the park. And it always feels like you're with someone almost, whether it's the bank, you've got company with some trees that you might be trying to avoid every stroke, or you've got someone walking along the bank, walking their dog, or you've got a coach riding alongside. Here, if you're by yourself, the coach isn't there in their launch, you can't really see anyone. It feels very alone, but not in like a bad way. It feels very peaceful, like you're doing your own thing, like you're in control. But at the same time, you could fall in the canal and just sort of paddle to the side, get back in. You could fall in the middle of the loch, the Strathclyde Country Park loch here, and it will pose some difficulties. Hence the safety launches that are out when we are out on the water. But it just brings a whole different mental attitude when you're out on the water, and I think it's really cool. Going down the course itself with all the boys, that was really interesting. The lanes themselves are a lot wider than I remember. Last time I was on a course was in a pair. So imagine a pair with 2 sweep oars, much longer, much wider than a single, so it feels much narrower. And then even an 8, again, much wider. So when you're in an 8, it feels much narrower, but you're not steering. In the single, you're doing all the steering, but it feels much wider. So I just had a fantastic day. And then to top it all off, side-by-side prep work for trials that are coming up in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, a couple of weeks. And so that in a couple of weeks, so make sure you are subscribed for the journey towards trials, which we will be discussing the trials process just in a minute as I get back home, have some fuel, because remember, food is fuel, and then we'll hop into the ambulance and have a little bit of a discussion about trials themselves. So let's get to it. And we've made it back to Yamsquad HQ to fuel up on some fuel, because remember, food is fuel, and we've made it to the ambulance to have a little bit of a chat about trials and a little bit of a trials process this year. So, like I've said already, trials coming up very soon. This trial coming up is a water trial. I will be in the single, so it'll be my first ever trial in a single, which is going to be really exciting. It's going to be a great opportunity to get out there and do some side-by-side racing. So the format for this trial is a closed trial, so it's invite only. It's at Dorney Lake this year instead of the normal at Caversham at the GB Rowing Training Centre. So on Dorney Lake, we're going to be doing a time trial in the morning. I think it's 1900 metres, and then a side-by-side race in the afternoon, which will be seeded by the time trial in the morning. So it's going to be a really interesting day, and it's going to give me an opportunity to see how I compare to people. It's basically people outside of the team that have been invited to the trial, and it will give me an opportunity to see how I compare to them. And it's going to be just an amazing opportunity to get on the water and just do some racing. It's been a long time since I've raced. I think the last time I raced was December 2019 at trials with Mr. Stanhope, and before that would have probably been in the 8 with Leander, and then before that in the Learn to Rope Air with Mr. Robson. So it's going to be something that's going to feel very different and very strange, because none of us have been doing a lot of racing lately, and so I'm taking the opportunity while I can to be able to go out and race this in a couple of weeks' time and see how I get on. The trials process itself throughout the sort of year is obviously very different to a normal year. Normally we would have already had a February long distance trial and a similar trial coming up, so there'll be trials and side by side not come into one day, and then there would be another trial, the sort of final trials later on. But this year, obviously, with everything going on, it's a little bit different, and so there's really only going to be this closed trial, and then there's going to be a sort of open trial later on where other people can attend. So we will see how this goes on, and basically from this trial there are going to be some spots in different boats, potentially, if the performances merit selection for certain boats, but not for the Olympic team. The Olympic team is already not selected, but basically selected, and that's separate to these trials. These trials are for people not in the team, and again, these first ones are invite only. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm really looking forward to, like I said, having the opportunity to get out there, get on the water, and hopefully change a little bit off the start. As you saw earlier, our starts need a little bit of work, just building the confidence still, and probably adding a little bit more practice into doing starts. But that will be it for today's episode, Yamsquad. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and that will be it for today's episode, Yamsquad. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, and as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Today's probably a good day to do so if you haven't already, because coming up there is going to be that lead into the trials process, so going over sort of beating your stress, going over, okay, how do you prep for a water race versus an air race, going over things like that I will be going through myself as we approach trials. And I believe 60% of you are not actually subscribed that are watching the channel. If you are one of those people, let me know in the comments below why not. And if you have subscribed, thank you very much. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next episode of the vlogs. Oh yeah!